Hey guys, welcome to the Soulcast Energy Report. I have a different background today, which is kind of fun. But anyways, I am so excited to be here and address what are going to be the energetics for October and really give you a way to work with your soul. That's why I call it a soul cast and navigate the energy so that you can have an amazing month. If you're new to me, my name is Dawn Elle Davis, and I'm a channel healer and a transformational mentor who specializes in helping you become your future self now through healing forward. So today I am going to go week by week. I already pulled all the cards for the month for October and it's looking good. And so I hope that September was whatever you needed. And and I would love to hear what that was for you. How did September turn out? I know September was a wildly transformative month for so many, and maybe even harder than people thought, the eclipses, all the things, right? So let's start with October, and we're starting off the month with that eclipse in Libra, the solar eclipse that was yesterday. As a matter of fact, I'm filming this on October 3rd, a little bit late because for some reason the eclipse really impacted me energetically. And so I like to channel when I feel my best. And so hence why I'm here today. But we're starting off October with a bang, just wrapping up the eclipse season, and it's going to take a couple weeks for that to do so. So let me start first with the card for the month, which is recognition and reward. So when I tune into October, the first thing I receive is that we're still in a highly transformative time. We're not out of the weeds yet. We're still making the changes. We're still integrating. We're still implementing all that has unfolded, has shifted. Where it's almost as if you got a new wardrobe and it's a little bit different than what you're used to, and you're trying it on, you're trying to get used to it, you're playing in this new costume of life, this new identity, this new energy, new energetics, if you will, and it may feel a little uncomfortable, but this is a time to really make sure that what you're choosing into is the right fit, to make sure that this is indeed where you want to head, because Libra, where we're starting off the month in, is so much about relationship to self and others, of course, but every relationship, every great, amazing relationship starts with ourselves and how we are intimate within our ability to resource our wisdom, our truth. And so this feels for so many that it's new beginnings, but there's still shedding. There's still a lot of shedding happening. And this is an interesting card for me because this card has to do with the material world being recognized. And I feel like people might recognize the difference. Like you may notice this month that not only is this card about the reward for the changes you've made, but it feels like the absolute success or manifestation of something. This is a powerful month for manifestation. There is a new beginnings energy. And it may not all happen this month, but you might start to feel all the shifts and you might be like, oh, okay, yeah, this feels good. You might feel recognition for what the ways that you're showing up in your new identity. You might feel a sense of accomplishment. You might be patting yourself on the back and being like, oh my gosh, I am holding true to what it is that is most important to me. I'm prioritizing my needs. It just feels like for so many, this is an opportunity to have the external world recognize the internal changes that you've made. And that's what October feels like. But it is very much getting used to your new costume, the new wardrobe, the new identity. And I love the energy. And this feels very much that you're not doing this alone. You need that sacred mirror. So much of Libra energy is the sacred mirror. And you need somebody else to reflect back to you the different changes. And, you know, when you have a conversation with somebody and you go into a deep conversation, maybe new awarenesses come through, and when you're describing something, you start to recognize, oh yeah, I have really shifted. I'm operating in new ways in my life. So lots of new ways to operate. Little bit of a feeling of you might be on a pedestal, which this is this energy. Now that I'm going to explain to you what that means, because that could actually be like a negative in some ways, but a pedestal means you're in the spotlight a little bit more. And it also means that projection can be really heavy, and there's a lot of discourse and dissonance in the collective. So when you're breaking out of the mold of who you've been, you might notice that you're receiving more projection this month. You might feel like, oh my gosh, I can see the difference between those who are not coming with me on this and then those who are. It feels like there's a little bit of a separation from the herd mentality. So you have to stand tall. You have to be willing to be in the spotlight in your own way, of course. This is going to be so different than for everybody, but it really does feel like you're letting go of the crowd mentality and really stepping into the leadership mentality of like, how do I want to lead my life? What's the identity that I really want to seal in? Because this is with the eclipse season, it's still, and even though we had the eclipse on the second, it's still a very important time to recognize that you are starting off on a new future timeline trajectory, and you want to make sure it's the right one. So, last thing I'll say about this is, to this card, recognition and reward, you may find that a lot of the work that you've been doing to get to this specific identity is starting to really ground in, and things may feel a little bit easier for you. So I love this energy. So we'll use that as our theme for the month. And then this first week is the solar plexus card. So for the week of October 1st, going all the way through the 6th, we have the solar plexus card. And this is another 3 card, because for the month it's 3, and 3 is all about collaboration. It's all about other people. And for this one, obviously, it's your third chakra. And this chakra has to do so much with self-esteem, self-worth, and kind of I will say, your power, how you're using your power to create the life that you really desire. So getting this card for the week, it really signifies to me that there's been so much shedding and so much letting go that you have to be in a deep space of trust of who you're becoming and what is unfolding for you. And I love this energy because it feels so potent. It feels so exciting that if you can trust that you're coming from that place inside of you that is connected to your heart and to your higher consciousness, then it's almost like your power just radiates. And you may be amazed at how things flow and how things can be easy. On the other hand, if you're coming from ego and trying to force and trying to push your agenda, then you might feel a bit of a block, a stopping, like you're trying to push a boulder uphill. I always use that analogy. And this is a time to let go of the patterns and behaviors that are keeping you looping. We had this, it's the eclipse week. So you were probably given a really ample opportunity to see how you were showing up in your relationships, good or bad, how relationships in your life can evolve, what you want for yourself, and what do you need in order for those things to happen. Well, you need to have faith and trust in the higher plan of why you're here and what you're doing and how you can use your life force vitality to create the life that you dream of, not just a life that is settling. And it's really hard right now because there's so much happening in our world. There's so much stuff. I don't even want to go into it. It's heartbreaking what's happening in the East Coast with the hurricane. It's heartbreaking what's happening in other I mean, there's just so much. And right now, the shadows are raising in the sense that like what was once maybe unseen now you can't not see it. It's just, it's everywhere. The lies, the deception that has been in the collective. And so this is really also about discernment and how you're using your power. Like if you're scrolling, doom scrolling on social media all day, I can guarantee you that you're going to be sucked into a collective consciousness energy that you don't want to be a part of. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to disconnect and to be in your own bubble and to make sure that what you're plugging into for your power source is the divine and nothing else. Nothing else. So this is a week to recognize that there's so much shifting happening on the energetic and psychic planes. Psychic, I mean, in the sense that you can't see it, but you know it's there. You know things are happening. You can feel it. Life is changing for everybody. And in order to ascend, we have to descend. Everybody thinks ascension is just going up into the clouds. It's actually descending into the lower chakras and clearing out trauma. That's what's happening on the planet. And it's happening because we're supposed to come into right use of power. So I wanted you to make sure that in your personal life, there's right use of power. How are you using your power? What are you aligning to? Are you connected to to the divine? Are you thinking about your leadership and impact that you can have in your own small ways with your community, your family, your friends? And really understanding that your power is so precious. How you use your life force vitality is so precious because you have an opportunity this week to really create a lot. Even if it's just the plans, the plans for where you're going for the rest of the year, what you want to do. It's really getting in that phase of understanding, okay, what am I creating? And so I find this energy to be wildly supportive if you're unplugged from the collective. And I know that a lot of you, and I'm so amazed at how you advocate for others. And I want everybody, continue doing that, but just know when to step off, know when to step away because it's not going anywhere. This divisiveness, this energy that's happening right now, where there's just a lot of shadow, it's not going anywhere. So you have to learn how to alchemize and work with the shadows. That's a big theme of this week. Work with your own shadow work. Do not resist what's being shown to you. If you find that there's, you know, patterns that are keeping you looping or in a way that you don't want to be, like, really make peace with that and see how you can reframe that and rewrite it so that you're moving forward in a very energetically aligned way and so that you feel in your power. Okay, so that's for the first week of October. For the second week, we have patience and planning, patience and planning. And we also have on the 11th, Pluto moves direct. So that's a big deal because Pluto's in Capricorn currently. And this card that just very much feels, I feel this kind of almost tedious energy of getting to work. This is not I don't know why, but they're saying this isn't a sexy energy. This is just I'm going to show up and I'm going to take care of things. I'm going to do the things that are necessary for me to not have too many energetic tabs open. So I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever felt when you do wake up in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh my God, I have to do this. I forgot to call this person. And there's all these energy tabs that are open, right? And it's frustrating. It's a lot. And this week they're saying, hey, this is an opportunity to keep your eye on the prize. Because everything I look at is from working with future consciousness, futuring. So eye on the prize means you know what you're working towards. If you're going to have patience and planning, you are planning for that. But you're still in an integration phase. You're still all this transformation that's been taking place for months and months and months, and all the changes that are still going to be happening. They're just saying, get to work, nose to the grindstone, like keep it up, keep doing what you're doing. Don't lose sight of where you're going. If something happens that makes you feel, like maybe you're going backwards, you're not. You're not. It's just part of the process. And so this particular week, they're showing me the throat chakra. They're showing me how you're using your words to create your reality, how you're communicating about what you are, creating for yourself and what you'd like to create. Are your words and how you're treating yourself in alignment with where you're going, or are they going to hold you back? And so this is very much this week. It just feels like a cleanup energy. You're cleaning things up. You might be detoxing. You might be getting rid of stuff. You might be preparing for the changes of season. The leaves are going to be falling. What do you still need to let go of? So it's just kind of, it feels in some ways a bit like a quieter week where you're just taking care of business and anywhere where you might have loose or open tabs. And this also, they're speaking to me about boundaries. Make sure that your boundaries are really buttoned up this week, because a lot of you have shifted into new identities. And with these new identities, you need to make sure that you have new boundaries. Can't be operating from the old boundaries of who you used to be. You got to be a little bit more discerning and determined with what you're working towards and who you really want to be. So it just feels, this very much feels almost like a buttoned up energy. If there's that extra button on a shirt and you're like, oh, should I do that or not? It's like, you're doing the extra button this week. You're more on point. You're really clear. And this is a 7 card, which has to do with your frequency, but you see it has the pillars. I've shown you this card before, and this is this is about manifesting too. And it's, in order to manifest, you have to have a strong foundation. And so this week it's the foundation. Get back to the basics. Don't overcomplicate things. There's already enough stuff going on. Don't overcomplicate. Just stay with the basics, clear up the tabs, clean up your space in your home, your office, your car, your body. If you need to do a detox, this is a really good time to start doing all that stuff. Okay, getting rid of the parasitic energies in your life that are holding you back, letting go of people pleasing tendencies where you're showing up for everybody but yourself. I don't want any of that for you guys. I want you to really honor your relationship to yourself. Okay, so that's the energy for the week of the 7th. Then we move into the week of the 14th, and we have the partnerships and alliances card, another 3 card. Lots of energy so far of 3. And 3 is always friendship, collaboration, community, all that kind of stuff. And so this card is telling me, who is your spiritual tribe? So this is for the week of the 14th. We have a really big full moon on the 17th, which is the Aries full moon. And that is actually when the eclipse season closes out. Woo! So you made it through. If you're listening to this video, you have made it through eclipse season. And what better way to make it through anything is with our sacred allies and loved ones. This card is so fun because this is the energy of who you're creating reality with and who you're spiritually partnering up with that can support you in creating your dreams and helping you stay in an attuned frequency that you desire. They say the 5 people you surround yourself with are the who helps you, really create your life, because there's quantum entanglement. There's quantum entanglement that happens. And so who you live with, if you're partnering up with them to create your future reality, it's all so vitally important. So this card is telling me to pay attention. We're still, I believe in, kind of be wrapping up Libra season this week. We're still in Libra season, and we have that Aries full moon. And so Aries full moon is going to ask you a couple of questions. It's going to ask you, have you learned the lessons of that eclipse portal, like the whole eclipse, like we're at the North Node. Well, I should say this with the eclipse portal that just happened with the Libra solar eclipse, but have you learned the overall North Node and South Node lessons that have been happening thus far, with the North Node being in an Aries, Libra South Node? Me to we. And so with Aries big full moon, oh my gosh, it's a big full moon, you guys. There's an opportunity here to see how much more independent or interdependent you've become. There's an incredible way to see, what are you fighting for in your life? And I don't mean that in a negative way, because I said a couple weeks ago that we were going to be in our solar plexus, our power. So our power, how have you been using that these last couple weeks since that first week of October? And so with this card, knowing that there is this opportunity to really kind of finalize and look at, okay, if I'm going to be the best version of me, because Aries is the warrior, Aries is not afraid to go after it. I'm an Aries rising. I know Aries energy and courageous risk taker, right? But in the shadow frequency, anger. So there could be a lot of things happening in the collective that are not pretty this week. Just gonna say, not pretty. Lots more coming to our awareness, anger erupting, people frustrated, seeing how maybe the we is not being taken care of the way it needs to be taken care of. And so this is an energy where, you know, Aries is ruled by Mars. And it's that planet of, it's the war energy in a way when it's not healthy. So wherever you might find yourself a little bit at war within yourself or a little frustrated, check yourself before you wreck yourself this week. Surround yourself with people that really support where you're going versus where you've been. And this is a week that it'll be really fortuitous of you to reach out to people, to reconnect with those allies, those advocates that can support you and whatever it is that you're up to. Maybe you're feeling more connected with community. I feel like people are going to be banding together this week. Be, with like-minded causes and community is just really important. It's really important right now that we join forces together instead of separation. And so that's the macrocosm, what's happening in some ways in the collective, but think about for yourself, where might you feel separate then? Where might you not be showing up in intimacy with the people that you love and creating more separation? Where could you be more vulnerable and ask for support this week and get things moving forward? Because remember, we're in a month of integration. We're really like taking all the changes we've made and we're trying to settle into it. You're trying to get used to this new identity. And you're going to need support. You're going to need your people. So this is a week to gain clarity on that and to ask for help when needed, to support another. This just very much, I see, it's such a heart chakra energy of, this could go one of two ways. With the Aries full moon, there could be a lot of disruptive energy at the shadow, or it could be that you know what's important to you and you're willing to support and help others in any way, shape, or form. It could be your kids, it could be a colleague, it could be a really good friend because you're willing to extend a hand, an arm to somebody else. Okay. And literally, this could be new partnerships, forming new relationships of all kinds. So if you've been looking for, a business partner, or you've been, kind of interviewing or dating, this feels like a week where things can come together. It can be really fun. So that's for this week of the 14th. The following week, let's see, for the week of the 21st, we have the Solitude card in this deck, but it's actually the Hermit card, the Hermit. And I love this card as a prescription for life in some ways, because we can't become a wise one without going within ourselves. We can't. And this feels like you might need a break from everything that's happening in the collective. It feels like you need quiet. You need to just hear your own voice, that you might be questioning just different things in your life because of what's happening in the collective. You might even be questioning all the changes that you've made. You might still be reconciling some of the changes you've made and really settling into your new identity. And so this card is a call, it's an invitation to go within yourself, to make sure that you're spending some time in your own capacity to be with yourself and your higher consciousness, to be with the divine. There's never been a better time than now to have a really amazing meditation practice. But this week feels like, it's an invitation to come into that heart chakra of yours and to recognize what wants to be addressed. What wants to be addressed? What wants to be dealt with? What wants to be looked at? Since you have made some big changes, this is a card that's really just saying, be in your heart, not in your ego. Trust the uncertainty, trust the confusion that you might be feeling at certain points because you're not supposed to know the answers. And this is a card, it's a 9 card. So it means you're in a completion. You're in a completion of a cycle of energy. And guess what? We move into Scorpio on the 22nd. So we're moving into the scorpionic energy, which is mental health, shadow work, taboo, sexuality, all these things, right? It's ruled by the 8th house, and it's other people's money, and it's all these things. So it's shared resources. So we're moving into this new energy, and oftentimes when we have time to go within ourselves and to get some deeper clarity, we see that thing that we're closing the loop on. We see, okay, yeah, okay, relationship season, Libra, everything that you've been in. What did you learn? What are you implementing? And I love that Scorpio deals with the deeper, shadowy elements of life. My Mercury's in Scorpio, if you can't tell. And I can talk about the deep things with my clients. I can talk about the really hard subject matter. And a lot of people shy away from that. They don't want to talk about the deeper things. They want to stay on the surface. But this is an opportunity to really get into the depths, to look at the truth or the untruths of your life, to look at the darkness that presents itself. And I don't mean this is going to be a terrible week for you at all. It's just part of this is understanding that part of your evolutionary process is to learn how to deal with your shadows. And I do feel like this week there's shadowy elements in the collective that are making you second guess or question reality overall and say, why is all this stuff happening? Why is there so much negativity? What's going on? We're getting ready for elections to fall. Things are heating up, right? So when you don't know what to do, go within. When you feel that things are feeling a little unreal in your reality, go within. And there's a beautiful, beautiful thing that happens when you allow yourself to not know and you sit with that. I have always found that when you sit in that feeling of confusion or what, if you give it enough time and you really just, you're with it, what winds up happening is the innate intelligence of the quantum field moves through you, through your body. Your body is this portal of wisdom. So when you're in the question of what's happening, I don't understand, divine, show me what's going on with, this specific area of my life or whatever it may be. If you sit long enough, the answers will come. This is about feminine receptivity. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's feminine receptivity and knowing that the truth comes, the truth will be revealed, the truth of, what's next, I should say. And it's a beautiful principle to learn how to be a master of the darkness. And what I mean by that is not that you're an evil being lording over people. No, there's enough of those in this reality. I don't mean that at all. I mean that when there's chaos and there's darkness in your life, that means you don't know the next answer. Things aren't making sense. That you're able to imagine you're in a dark room and you're fumbling through the room and there's a light switch. You just have to be patient, just kind of like put your hands on the wall and figure out where that is, right? And you'll find it and you'll turn it on. But instead of a light switch going on, it's your connection with the quantum, with source energy, with the divine And when you stay in the unknowing, eventually it all shifts and that information comes through because you're willing to receive it. You're not pushing it away. You're not afraid of the confusion or the uncertainty. So I share that with you because a lot of you are quantum leaping into new ways of life and new ways of being, and you're not going to know. You don't have the blueprint for all of this because this is all new stuff. It's really exciting, uh, but it presents an opportunity of really trusting your inner knowing and your wisdom and your intuition. So that is the information that I want to share for the week of the 21st. And last but not least, for the week of the 28th, which is Halloween week and all sorts of stuff, we get this creepy card. I'm just kidding. But we get this card. It's called Disruption. In the traditional tarot, it is the Tower. We all know. Have you ever heard, what's your Tower moment? Well, yeah. So this week, something might be unnerving, something might shift. There's a lot happening. There might be more information revealed in the collective. There might be just, I don't know. But being that it's a tower moment, no fear, trusting that whatever is shifting, whatever is moving around in your reality, that it's exactly the way it's supposed to be. Can you have faith and trust that the rejection, the detour is taking you exactly where you want to be? So for some of you, you may not have anything big happening. This is not, this could be happening in the collective. And that's actually like what I'm feeling is that there's um more stuff happening in the collective. I never focus this much on the collective, but this is a collective reading. And my whole thing is to help you navigate that. So one of the things I'm hearing is whatever's falling apart needs to fall apart. The 16 is a soul lesson number. And it feels like there's an activation of, oh, this is so interesting, souls to unite to support the collective. So if you feel like you're a light worker, if you feel like you're somebody that has a mission to impact and support others, this is your week to hold the frequency, hold the energetics. I know that sounds a little woo, but it's true. This is your leadership, which means, right, that you may be in the spotlight in your group of friends. You may be the one that's the beacon of light helping other people. I don't know how all this is going to unveil itself, but there's unveiling, and like that's such a good word. Spirit saying, yeah, there's unveiling. There's more truth. There's more things to see. There's more understanding of, and then yet on the other flip side, there's more mystery and not understanding. But whatever is coming apart, whatever piece of your reality feels like, oh, whether it's just a belief that you had and you're like, I gotta get rid of that, that doesn't make sense anymore, or it's an actual bigger thing like a job or a relationship or whatever that might need to be kind of restructured. It's okay. It's okay. Welcome it, because this is a card. When you have a tower card, it's to support you in creating a firmer foundation for your reality. And you don't want to move forward on faulty energetics and dynamics. And so this feels like for a lot, it'll be more collective energy. But if it is happening to you individually, deep breaths, take care of yourself. And then for those of you that are not really experiencing it this week, help your friends, help everybody else, be the beacon of light, bring the joy. And this feels like a week where there's a lot of lower um, chakra trauma energy coming up to the surface. I know that sounds really negative, but unprocessed trauma, unprocessed trauma can cause a lot of disorientation individually and collectively. Okay. And so it feels like the lower chakras, the root, the sacral, the unprocessed things are going to be more exposed for yourself. So you might be doing a lot of shadow work on yourself. You might be feeling like, oh my gosh, now that like see this so clearly, like, I got to do some work on this in myself. I know this sounds really kind of heavy, but we are in a time of change and innovation. And there is a gorgeous opportunity to do your work on yourself this week, to really be doing your shadow work so that you can have an open heart and be trusting how things are shifting. But this, more than anything, feels like a macrocosm energy versus a micro. Okay. So maybe what's happening in the collective ignites your shadows and your fears and your triggers. And this is your opportunity to choose love and choose to see things in the highest and choose to believe that all of this is happening so things can come together in a better and more aligned way. Okay, so that is the energy for October. It is going to be a hot month. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's a lot that can, like, a lot can happen. It's going to be a powerful month. And it's one where you're going to have to take really good care of yourself because there's a lot happening externally. So much of this reading, I feel like, was what's happening in the collective versus just what's happening for you. But when you know that, I share that with you because if you know that, then you won't take things so personally. Then you'll just be like, okay, I got to really be on top of my self-care practices. I got to be managing and watching the way I'm interacting with everything outside of myself. So let me know how October goes. But I was going to say it's great for manifesting and it's a cleanup energy. There is a big, big sweep of energetic clearing that's happening on our planet this month. And it's a necessary cleanup, and it's going to take us further into a future that we desire, but it may be a little sticky icky at some points during the month. So just, yeah, I hate to say that, but it's like they're just, they're saying like we want to prepare everybody so that they can just feel like they know what's happening and they don't get overly involved and they know what's truth and what's not. And so, yeah, blessings.